Yo, what's up, guys? So today, I'm gonna have another video similar to the other ones, uncut. I don't really care for editing. I like to make my videos seem real, like I'm straight up talking to you guys. So, um, another one of those. I'm just gonna talk about what happened. So last night, um, I checked the leaderboards. I was 1970 on my life, right? And I saw that Cass deranked, and I was number one. Okay, at the time, I was 1970. No one's really queued the past few days except Flint, on the first page at least. So I was number one at the time. I was 1970, and I'm like, fuck it. I hopped in queue yesterday afternoon, and I grinded to Warlord around till 9 p.m. last night. So I hit Warlord. As you can see by my badge, I did hit Warlord this season. I started off at 1850 because I hit Marshall last season doing regular life. Um, as you can see, I have a very good ratio that brings up some questions as to the strategy I'm doing and things that need to change. And that's what I'm going to be describing or talking to you guys about this in the video. So, um, my opinions are going to be very as unbiased as I can possibly make them. Considering the fact that life is my main school, and for the past year, I've been the highest ranked life. At the end of fourth age, I was the highest ranked, except for the guy who boosted, so we don't count him. And then once I made the life last season, I ended as the second highest ranked life, and now I am the highest ranked life. I'm the only life at any level band to hit Warlord. It has not been done yet before until now. I'm currently the only warlord on the boards. Um, Cass was above warlord, so he was the first one. I have to give credit where it's due. Um, he dropped below because he was queuing for the ice deck, or like the ice deck wand thing, the warlord one, that you can only get if you queue above Marshall, and he didn't have the stuff, so he queued. So the Stormbringer. Um, yeah, so a few very important points I'm going to bring up about the strategy, what needs to change, in my opinion, in order to fix it, and make it less overpowered. So, first thing I'm going to go over is the stats. So, personally, I don't think the stats that I run are overpowered at all. Okay, and what I have normal defensive school resist, so balance. I have less res than balance. I have less res than ice. Obviously, I think even any school mighty warded still has less base res than an ice for some reason. Um, and then I triple ward to 3 schools. So as you can see by my pet, I have the ability to triple ward. Now, obviously, my stats would be better if I took those 3 wards off, added an extra damage, maybe a mighty, armor breaker. My stats could be better. But I struggled against 3 matchups specifically, so I warded them. That's a very easy concept. So I have pretty good resist considering I triple ward. I don't even have perfect accuracy to life. Now this can be changed, obviously, but I ran the balance accuracy for the shift for the TC pops, as you guys have seen before. And if any of you watch my games, you know how important those are to my strategy. So I like having those. My crit is horrible. Like, actually horrible. My block is lower than most regular strats, so I'm giving up a lot of stats. My Pierce is, considering the fact I don't run Breaker, it's good, and it's only this good because I have the Void Gear, which a lot of the people doing the similar strat do not. So they have like 28 Pierce, 29 Pierce. My healing is good. It could be better because I don't run Medic on the pet. But this is a good healing. This is really good compared to people who don't have Void Gear, especially because they'll run Medic on their pet and still have less than me. It's purely just because I had good drops. I have perfect pips. I have pretty standard shads, and my P serve is terrible as well. I have good HP, which does matter. It does matter. I have usually 800 more than most people running like the Malistaire robe healing setup. So the stats are, considering the fact I have all the gear, the stats are fine. I see no problem with the stats. The thing that makes it overpowered, especially on a life, is that Brace and Lumi spam. Constant 2 debuffs that are very easy to get, and Lumi does damage. My open buff Lumis do like 6, or open no buff Lumis do like 600, even with these stats, except for an ice, against an ice. But that's really good, considering the fact if I do that 3 or 4 times, you're down 2,000 HP, and you haven't gotten an open hit on me yet. And if the hits you have gotten, I can heal off, I can, wings, multiple things like that. So I don't think the stats overpowered at all. So I'm gonna get into what I think needs to change for the next season, because we know they're not gonna do a mid-season change like this. So number one, first thing by the way, these I have recommended these tips to multiple content creators that are trying to use them to push on their platform. Because coming from me, if I'm giving valuable tips on how to nerf the strat I'm doing, it matters more than anyone else. So number one, I think Dryad should be no PvP. I think that is probably one of the biggest cards that a lot of healing lives will lean on to use for their strategy. I think Dryad should be no PvP. That's like the biggest thing. I don't think Satyr's overpowered. I mean, my Satyrs do 1500. I have to get buffs on my Satyrs to make 4 Satyrs in my deck good enough to last me for, 30, 40 rounds until I can get a reshuffle. So these have to be doing heals. So I have to buff my heals. So if I have to buff my heals, if someone were to carry infects, they can debuff my heals if they use them correctly, and it makes my heals way worse. And then if I can't heal and good and in like a, if I can't heal well, then what am I gonna do? My damage sucks. So if you can hit me, I don't even have good resist. Let's say I'm facing a fire or a balance who does some good chip damage on me, because I also hit. I don't full on Jade. So if you hit me when I'm at low pips because I'm trying to hit you, and then you infect me, then I can't heal well, right? So my entire strat relies on the ability to heal. If you take away my ability to heal, yes, sure, there are ways to counter it, but I have to spend pips countering it, especially with I. I gives you pips. So if you infect me and I have to take it off that round, I have to use an I, assuming I don't have, because I don't pack Imp, I don't pack Fairy. I have to either Satyr, Wings, Brûlée. I have to use one of these to take it off, right? And that's helping you because I'm wasting pips to take off the infect, which gives, in this case, can give you pips to hit me better or infect again, stuff like that. So I don't think that healing itself needs to change. I think one of two things need to happen. I think you either add more viable ways to infect. So either maybe give more schools than just death a hit and infect. Maybe take away, maybe add more heal debuff so it's not exclusive to death. Maybe there are so many other ways. Maybe increasing deck size I'm not saying that's what I'm encouraging, but that is a solution I've heard, is increasing deck size, or making some of the shambles worse so you can take them out and add more. People 2 months ago were carrying 6 Jen's defenses, right? Now some people only carry 4 or 5. That decreases 1 deck space. So maybe you make brace worse, or anything. That more people carry, make sets worse, something like that, right? That will take, maybe some people pack 6 sets to storm. Maybe if sets are only 60% or something like that. I'm not saying that that's the solution I'm asking for. You can take 2 of them out, and then you have 2 free spaces for infects, stuff like that. I think main deck infects are better, especially if you run reshuffles. If you don't, you can put them inside depending on what deck you run. Those are just some options, but I definitely think, going back to my first point, that Dryad should be taken out. With Dryad being taken out, healing life becomes way worse. I think everyone knows that. So I think another big thing that needs to change is the way timer works. Because I think there are 2 issues with timer, okay? You have one issue, which is where healing lives are running full resist. They are Jades. I don't consider myself a Jade because I'm actively trying to kill my opponents 99% of the time. Sometimes I'll have people who are being toxic and will just timer me straight off, and then I just won't even try, because if you give me 21 rounds to kill you, I can't kill you, stuff like that. And I shouldn't have to. Not every school should be able to kill someone in 21 rounds. That's silly. I'm a defensive school. I should be able to play slower, right? So yeah, one of the issues we're having is healing lives going into queue with a deck that's just set shields, just heals, just braces, just heal buffs, and they're not hitting their opponents. All they're doing is purely trying to waste people's time, and you'll see people on the leaderboards. One example, Leon Legend Finder. Now, he's not a bad person. He's one of my friends, but at the same time, his strategy is very reliant on people fleeing because he does not hit. Now, he also doesn't queue. I don't know when he did these 9 matches. But that strategy should not be a thing. And another issue you're having is, on the healing life, you will have people who will just timer from round 1 and give you 20 rounds to kill them before their time runs out. And then they will shit talk you after and be like, oh, why didn't you kill me? You're jading. Stuff like that. It's silly. So the solution that I proposed is flipping how it works now. So, for example, a healing life goes into a match and they run the person out of cards. Let's say Liam Legend Fighter matches Kane, okay? And Kane cannot kill Liam Legend Fighter because all he's doing is buffing, healing, debuffing, stuff like that, and he can't kill him. And Kane runs out of cards. In that situation, Kane will lose rank and Liam will gain rank. Okay? By the way, this is not the Liam guy who streams. Okay, this is someone else. In that situation, Liam will gain rank, Kane will lose rank. Okay, and on the opposite side of the same spectrum, you'll have Liam versus Kane. Let's say Kane realizes, oh, this Liam guy is, he's terrible. I'm just gonna timer him. And now Liam's a bad example because he doesn't hit. Let's say he matches me, okay, and Kane will timer from round 1. He'll give me 21 rounds to kill him, which I can't kill him because he can shield all 21 rounds if he wants to, and I can't kill through shields in 21 rounds. He'll timer, okay? In that situation, yes, he will lose rank, but I gain nothing. I just lost one matchup in queue. I wasted 10 minutes or some longer, to be honest, because those rounds add up. I wasted time and I couldn't kill him, okay? And that's just he does lose rank and gets a loss, and I get nothing. So what I proposed is a swap on how that works. Okay, so if I match Kane, and he runs out of cards, and I just sit there, and just heal, he will lose rank. Yes, because you can't just not have him lose rank because then everyone would just timer someone they don't like, or they'll just play like that versus anyone, and he'll lose rank, but I won't gain anything because all I did was sit there and heal. But if they switch it and they put, if I match Kane and Kane timers me, I will gain rank. So let me explain to you why this is a good idea. You have a punishment for both of the complaints. You have a punishment for people who will go into matches and just grief people by healing every round, okay, and taking the full time, because then they won't get rank, opposed to how it is now. If that's how it was, Liam would have 0 rank, okay? And then you have the people who will... what's it called? You have the people who will just timer from round 1, and so the Jade doesn't get rank. And jading is a bad excuse. It shouldn't be a thing. So I'm going to use healing life as an example. I'm going to use myself as an example. So if I match Kane, he wouldn't be able to draw a timer because the only reason he's doing that is so I don't get rank, right? He doesn't care about if it's a good match or not. He will just draw the timer. He will lose rank. I won't get anything. So if they switch it, I would get rank. So that would discourage people from just giving up the second they steal a healing life. Okay. And this is dependent on the fact that they completely change the way it works. So people can't just go into matches and not hit. But that would discourage people from just timering lives and giving up. And then that would also discourage people from just healing. That would fix both of the main issues. Now, after you do that, you can go in and look into like the statistics on why the people are timering. Now, when you look at it, people are timering because they don't have heal counters. There are plenty of heal counters. Okay, and while yes, the statement can be made, oh well, what if the Jade just counters my heal? Yeah, and I'm saying Jade very loosely because most people call it jading, even though that's 99% of the time that's not what it is. If someone counters every single thing you do, they should win. It's like that for every single strategy in the game. If I am on a death and I'm fighting a trap stack fire and I counter every single one of their scales, I should win. It's no different for lives. If they try to counter all my heals and I counter their end factor, their threefold, and then I heal and I win because of that one heal, then I should win the match. It's no different for life. It's just the fact that people either just straight up don't want to carry the counters. They can. Some schools can fit counters in their deck. Like, you're packing more than what you need of some cards. You don't need that many storm sets. You don't need that many braces. You don't need that many hits. They're packing that many because they can. So either increase deck size, make some cards worse, or stop complaining. You have the counters to heal. There are just as many counters to heal as there are heals. It's just the fact that people don't want to carry them. So maybe depending on the next world, I mean, we have no idea what the new meta is going to look like. You know, the devs are not extremely transparent, as you know, shocker, on what the game's going to look like in the future. But I'm talking current meta right now. Yes, there are some schools that it's way harder to kill a healing life, even with infects on a ice versus a storm, right? Because storms can hit way easier. You know, they have more stuff. You know what I mean, right? It's way easier in some schools. And some people are like, oh, it's impossible. It's not impossible. 99% of healing lives suck. You know, and I hate to say it because, you know, it feels like at this point I'm the one, you know, pushing for people to do the strat because it's proving a point, right? This is ridiculous. This ratio even being possible is ridiculous. You could say, oh, it's because people flee. No, 90% of the time the people don't flee. The people who flee are like, you know, people on the 89th page of the leaderboard who give me 1 rank if they flee. You know, if someone's 1600 and they flee, sometimes I get 0 rank. So that's a very small percentage of my rank is people fleeing. High rank people, anything above like this rank, normally except for Sauce, don't flee if they match a healing life. They will play it out, and sure, some of them might lose because they just straight up don't carry infects. And I can say this, for example, my easiest matchup across the board is Trap Stack Fire because I carry 10 trap counters and 5 reshuffles. Okay, so there's no reason a Trap Stack Fire should beat me. The other day, I fought against Stefan Fire, who most of you guys know because he's been one of the best players for years, and he beat me. And I will admit it, he just straight up outplayed me. Now, shocker, one of the best players in the game outplayed me, and you can call me shit all you want, but he outplays almost everyone he fights. But the point is still made that even on my easiest matchup, he carried infects and he played it correctly, and he beat me. Now, this wasn't a practice match, you know, and it was no hate towards him. He's one of my, you know, closest friends, but it is possible. It is just people don't know when to use infects because a lot of the people who play right now did not play 4 years ago, myself included, when healing was at its peak. When a Satyr did 4K with no buffs, and now it's doing a third of that, and people are still complaining because they don't know how to use the counters. So those are just a few of my suggestions on, you know, changes to healing itself. I don't think the actual life is the problem. Except for a few things, you know, some people are exceptions. Changes a timer that I hope we can see, or just anything really. And I think that'll change a lot on people's outlook on healing lives. You know, I don't want everyone to be like, oh, you heal on a life, your ass, because healing on a life is what you're supposed to do. That's not like a crazy idea. I want people to be like, oh, he hit Warlord because he was good at doing what he's doing and no one wanted to counter him. And that's what it is. No matter what you look at it, there are counters to healing. People can do it. They just don't want to, so I hit Warlord. And that's just, you know, how it is. That's how the cookie crumbles. So I'll leave you guys on that. I hope to see some of you guys shit-talking me in the future because I love seeing it, because if you're mad at me, then that means something's got to change, right? With your deck, if you literally can't beat me, which 99% of people can't, then you got to look at your own deck because that seems to be the issue. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.